This is not a scene from a movie. It happened. October 19th, 2025. A date that changed how the world sees art, crime, and the fragility of our cultural heritage. What was taken that morning was worth millions, but what was lost cannot be measured in gold or diamonds. On the morning of October 19th, 2025, the world awoke to a scene that would soon send shockwaves across every newsroom, security agency, and art institution on the planet. The Louvre Museum in Paris, the very heart of French heritage and the crown jewel of global art and culture, had fallen victim to what experts would call the most daring museum robbery of the 21st century. It happened quickly, quietly at first, then with a thunderclap of realization. Centuries of history, pride, and artistry had just been stolen in the space of minutes. That Sunday morning began like any other in the courtyard beneath the Louvre's shimmering glass pyramid, where tourists gathered for selfies, where children pointed toward the majestic facade, where guards followed their routines, unaware that the next few minutes would be recorded as a black mark in museum history. At approximately 9:30 a.m., a white truck with the markings of a maintenance contractor pulled up to the southern wing of the Louvre, facing the River Seine. Four men, dressed in high-visibility construction vests and helmets, climbed out. They appeared routine, unremarkable, blending perfectly into the environment of restoration and upkeep that constantly surrounds Europe's great monuments. But what they carried inside their truck was far from ordinary. Concealed within their tools was a battery-powered angle grinder, heavy-duty cutters, a portable lift mechanism, and a detailed floor plan of the Galerie d'Apollon, the gallery that houses France's crown jewels among them. The legendary emerald and diamond pieces once worn by Empress Eugénie, Empress Marie-Louise, and Queen Hortense. These treasures, locked behind reinforced glass, are among the most symbolically charged artifacts of French monarchy, glittering reminders of an empire long past, but never forgotten. The thieves had studied their target well. In recent months, scaffolding and light construction near the Denon wing had made access through certain balconies less conspicuous. Security rotation patterns, camera blind spots, and guard timings had all been quietly noted. The team waited for the precise window when foot traffic was light, surveillance least responsive, and nearby alarms under temporary recalibration. Then, using the hydraulic lift, they ascended the side of the Louvre as if performing scheduled maintenance. Within moments, the first man was cutting through the historic window frame. The sound was brief, masked by street noise and the hum of the machinery. Glass shards fell silently onto the museum floor as two figures slipped into the Galerie d'Apollon, their boots echoing against marble, their visors reflecting the shimmer of gold leaf and painted ceilings. Inside that room, a collection unmatched in Europe glittered beneath bright security lights. Diamonds set in platinum, emeralds mounted on crowns, necklaces and tiaras forged by masters of the 19th century. The men moved with purpose. One used a crowbar to pry open a display case, another smashed the next. Alarms blared instantly, but the team had anticipated this. Their exit route was prepared, their timing relentless. In under 7 minutes, they gathered their target items: the Eugénie tiara, the Marie-Louise emerald necklace, the Napoleonic bow brooch, and several royal ornaments of immense historical and artistic significance. But not everything went as planned. One of the glass cases resisted longer than expected. In the scramble, the crown of Empress Eugénie slipped, crashed to the floor, and rolled toward the window. A thief grabbed it, but, realizing it wouldn't fit through the opening with the remaining loot, he dropped it outside, dented and partially broken. Seconds later, they were gone, climbing down the lift, sliding into their waiting scooters and vanishing into the streets of Paris. By 9:37 a.m., it was over. The Louvre Fortress of Art, symbol of civilization, had been breached. The alarm summoned the Brigade de Répression du Banditisme, the French elite anti-robbery unit. Streets were cordoned off, bridges closed, and the pyramid entrance evacuated. Museum staff, some in tears, watched as police and forensic teams swept the scene. Glittering fragments of broken glass lay beside the abandoned crown, a haunting image that spread across social media within minutes. By midday, the entire world was watching. News outlets from CNN to Le Monde to Al Jazeera broadcast live updates. The Louvre's director, Laurence Descartes, appeared visibly shaken, describing the robbery as an attack on the soul of France. The French Minister of Culture called it a national tragedy. President Emmanuel Macron personally addressed the public, promising that every resource will be deployed, every lead followed, and justice will be served. But as hours passed and the trail grew cold, reality began to sink in. The thieves had executed a plan of precision rarely seen outside of cinema. Security experts soon revealed disturbing findings. Nearly 30% of the Louvre's interior was without active CCTV coverage due to ongoing renovations. The Galerie d'Apollon, though equipped with alarms, relied on older display cases that, while designed to withstand force, were no match for modern power tools. The museum's security staff, reduced in number during post-pandemic restructuring, were stretched thin across miles of galleries. And worst of all, the lift truck used in the robbery had been stolen from a nearby construction site, only hours earlier its GPS tracker disabled. As investigators scoured Paris, theories began to multiply. Some believe the robbery bore the signature of a professional European art theft syndicate, possibly linked to organized crime networks operating across Belgium, Italy, and the Balkans. Others suspected an inside collaborator, someone with intimate knowledge of the museum's routines. Forensic teams found glove fibers, traces of gasoline, a discarded walkie-talkie, and partial DNA samples, but nothing that pointed directly to the identities of the perpetrators. Days later, a new layer of mystery unfolded. The Interpol Art Crime Unit revealed that intelligence had surfaced months earlier, suggesting a group of jewel thieves was targeting royal artifacts with meltable value. Their goal, to dismantle jewels, remove stones, and sell them individually on the black market, far away from traceability. Unlike stolen paintings, which are easily recognizable gems, can be recut, repolished, and resold as new stones. Experts warned that unless the jewels were recovered swiftly, they might disappear forever, melted into anonymity. Public reaction was intense. French citizens flooded social media with outrage, calling for tighter museum security and stricter laws for cultural property theft. Editorials compared the heist to the theft of the Mona Lisa in 1911, when the painting vanished for over 2 years before resurfacing in Florence. Yet there was a grim difference. A painting can be hidden and recovered intact. Jewels can be destroyed beyond repair. Meanwhile, rumors swirled of the Phantom Crew, an underground group supposedly responsible for several high-profile European heists, including the Green Vault robbery in Dresden, and the Brussels diamond theft years prior. Though no concrete evidence linked them to the Louvre case, The similarities were eerie precision timing, minimal violence, expert escape. French investigators, in collaboration with Europol, launched Operation Apollon, a continent-wide search for the culprits. Weeks passed. Then, in early November, surveillance footage from a gas station near Lyon surfaced, showing two scooters and a white truck matching the description of the getaway vehicles. But the footage was grainy, and the license plates were stolen. Police followed leads into Marseille, Nice, and Milan, raiding warehouses and seizing counterfeit jewelry shipments, yet the real jewels remained missing. Inside the Louvre, the Galerie d'Apollon reopened to the public under heavy guard. Visitors gazed at the empty display cases now replaced with plaques reading, "Under restoration following the events of October 2025. Many stood in silence, taking photos not of art but of absence. The emptiness had become its own exhibit, a reminder of fragility, of how even the greatest treasures can vanish in a blink. Cultural historians called the heist a wound to French identity. Art appraisers placed the financial loss at 80 to 100 million euros, but emphasized that the symbolic loss was immeasurable. These jewels had survived revolutions, wars, and empires, only to be carried away in minutes by men in safety vests. Months later, whispers emerged that some of the emeralds had surfaced in Antwerp, Europe's diamond capital. Unverified reports suggested that intermediaries had approached private dealers offering rare stones of imperial provenance. But no arrests followed, and the Louvre declined to comment on ongoing investigations. Today, nearly all of the Galerie d'Apollon's treasures remain unrecovered. The investigation continues across borders, fueled by both international cooperation and the haunting question of how such a theft could occur at the very heart of the most secure museum in the world. The case has forced global institutions from the British Museum to the Metropolitan Museum of Art to reevaluate their own security infrastructures, their alarm redundancies, and their protocols for priceless movable artifacts. As of late 2025, the robbers remain ghosts in the system, their names unknown, their identities hidden behind masks and planning that bordered on military precision. But in the stillness of the Louvre, beneath the grand chandeliers of the Galerie d'Apollon, one truth endures: that art, no matter how protected, is forever vulnerable to the ambition, greed, and ingenuity of humankind. And so the story of the Louvre robbery of 2025 is not just about stolen jewels. It is a mirror held up to civilization itself, a reflection of our capacity to create beauty and our equal capacity to covet and destroy it. The shimmering diamonds that once symbolized power now symbolize loss. The silence left behind speaks louder than any siren, echoing through marble halls and centuries of culture. And as investigators pursue faint traces across Europe's underworld, the world waits, watching, remembering, hoping that one day France's lost crowns will return home to their glass cases under the golden ceiling of the Louvre. Until then, the museum stands vigilant, both a fortress and a scar, a testament to human brilliance and human betrayal alike. The heist of October 2025 will be remembered not simply as a crime, but as a warning that history, even behind glass, is never safe.
Thanks for watching.